Stafford, AJ Green, Marquez Pope, Reggie Brown, No Sean Marino, Muhammad Massaquoi, Rodney Hilton.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Herschel Talkers. We got Big Sean on the phone, on the road again.
Can't wait to get on the road again.
Hey, working man, swig of beer, swig of water for the working man. Sean's on the road.
That's right.
Wanted to say, please follow us or follow me or subscribe on Trey Tucker on YouTube channel. That'd be great. Try to get some of the views up. Also, we have it on Facebook, DawgNation.com. Sometimes we get a smart review every now and then. Also on 247 Sports. So follow us on that. Click on the views. Give us some thoughts and comments. Just wanted to put that out there. Georgia has a big win last week. Huge win, 20-19 over Notre Dame. It was the Dawg Nation invasion. I think it was 40-50% of the crowd. Sean, I want to get your thoughts on the game and how this was maybe big win for the program and for recruiting.
Well, I think like with any game, there's positives and negatives that you can take away from it. To me, I think that the positives of the game are, I think first and foremost, that I think the last time Georgia was in a game of any national relevance was probably the 2012 SEC championship game against Alabama, where we were basically one play away from playing the national title game against, ironically, Notre Dame.
Right.
So. It's been a while. I guess this would have been 5 years since then, or a little short of 5 years. So, obviously, there was a lot of other big national games going on as well. Clemson and Auburn, and then Oklahoma and Ohio State. But, that said, it was a game of national prominence. The program got exposed to fans outside of the Southeast. And, just as you mentioned, having 42% of the crowd, or estimated 42% of the crowd, being Georgia fans, and I guess setting the secondary ticket price market for, I think it was averaging well over $1,100 a ticket, if I'm not mistaken, or certainly close enough to it, was just big. I think it made a very favorable impression on the rest of the nation in terms of how much support Bulldog Nation has for our football team, and recruits have to like that. I think in association with that, the fact that we got a win with the true freshman quarterback with a second-year head coach against Notre Dame is big. I think as we had mentioned, this is probably a game, given how close it was, that Mark Richt probably loses.
Yep.
But, Kirby had his guys fighting, and they found a way to win. And, to be quite honest, it was, I think far from an impressive performance by us on the offensive side of the ball. And even though the defense played well, they had some stupid penalties as well that probably didn't necessarily help them. With, hands to the face and just some other, just stupid penalties that hurt us. But, again, I think when recruits see that you've got a fan base that's going to, travel that far and, be that passionately behind you, that's big. And again, getting the win, too, obviously is huge. Kind of some of the negatives, I think, as we mentioned, was not a very impressive performance by us on offense. It was interesting. I think that, going into the game, I think people thought the strength of the offense was going to be the running games because of Chubb and Michelle and how bad Notre Dame's defense has been historically, and that the weakness was going to be from Jake Fromm being a true freshman quarterback and probably making some mistakes. But the reality is the running game was not all that impressive. I mean, Sonny Michel had a pretty decent game. I think he had, 70-some yards and a touchdown or something like that?
Yeah, 13 carries, 73 yards and a touchdown. That's correct.
That's right. And I think, Chubb just had an okay to average performance. But, it's still not really the dominant running game that I think that a lot of people had hoped for this year. And, really it was, I think Jake Fromm's play that, won us that game. I mean, the moxie to throw that touchdown pass to Terry Godwin like he did was huge.
Oh, yeah.
And then just really not to really get rattled or, to just get too chinged up, for lack of a better term, on a major game like that on national TV on the road. It says a lot about him. And, certainly, injuries aside and everything else aside, I mean, he's got the potential for a really bright future. Offensive line is kind of all over the place. I think they did a pretty good job of pass blocking, but, the blocking in the running game still kind of seemed to be an issue. I mean, and we've heard these great things about
Yeah, then we got Sean. Good.
I think that what he's got on the offensive line is he's got a converted, defensive tackle as a center. He's got a true freshman at right tackle. He's got a converted guard playing left tackle. And then it's, he's basically got a couple of 3 or 4 star guys on the inside. So from a pure talent standpoint, maybe not necessarily the most ideal situation for you. But that said, I mean, he's had what would seem to be comparable talent at other stops. It seems like they performed well. I've heard some people say that it really takes until game 4 for them to really get rolling. But, I still don't think that offensive line, it's certainly better than it was last year, but I don't know that it's necessarily playing well enough to say that it's not still a liability for you, if that makes sense. I mean, the fact that you played well enough against Notre Dame it's all well and good, but Notre Dame wasn't exactly even really an average defense, to be completely honest. I mean, they were kind of near the bottom of the nation. And so, we're going to be playing some teams that have got some pretty good defensive players, Florida and Auburn and, some of these other programs. And they're going to have to play a lot better for us to get wins out of those, I believe.
Yeah, I totally agree. Good answers on all those. I will say Jake Fromm coming in 16 to 29 at 141 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. As Sean and I watched it at the local bar here, kickstands.
The local watering hole.
Yeah, the old water. Yeah, it's good turnout there. But for Fromm to come in there, I give him probably like a C plus, maybe a B minus, just for going in there as a true freshman. He had 1 bad handoff. Probably just didn't have a good chemistry with Chubb on that one. And then he kind of forced that in right before halftime, a pick. But he made the throws what he can. At the end of the day, you got the win. So I thought that was really good. Chubb and Michelle still struggled against the run a little. Chubb had 13 rushes for 63 yards. Like we said, Michelle 13 for 73. Guy I was really impressed with, and we keep throwing his name out there, is the way Kirby Smart said, hey, we got to get number 7 the ball more. 2 carries, 41 yards. I think we all know that kid's going to be good. Hope to see a lot of them this weekend. Another thing they need to really work on, the way you mentioned, is the penalties. 12 penalties for 126 yards, which is, unexcusable. And Kirby Smart, last year's team is actually one of the most not penalized teams. So this was kind of a thing. He did say, the way Rick uses it, said, hey, that's aggressive. But you got to watch, some of these, like face mask and like I said, hands to the face. So they definitely need to work on that. Defense was great, lights out, won that game. Lorenzo Carter is actually SEC Defensive Player of the Week, so that was impressive. And then Davin Bellamy going around and getting that fumble, sack fumble was huge. They gave him the dagger.
Yep.
So definitely a big win for the program, and definitely it's great to get the win. A little scary at the end, but we got the win.
Well, yeah, and I'll say it too. I've been one of Jim Chaney's staunchest critics, but I'll tell you, I kind of feel like for the second week in a row, he called, a better game plan than I expected. Granted, he had some, WTF moments with doing the wild dog and things like that. It just, I've never seen that be successful, ever. I don't think in Georgia. And so whether it was him or Bobo or anybody else, so I don't really get why you do it. But other than that, I thought he called a pretty good game. It's kind of ironic. I think if we were going to maybe look at one assistant that maybe wouldn't potentially, or might potentially be a disappointment, I think he was one guy we were probably looking to say, all right, this guy's probably going to, has the potential of a poor performing offense. But that's not the case. I think, a perfect example was after Lorenzo Carter recovered the first fumble, he went right for the throat, so to speak, and throws that bomb, which, if Miko Hardman doesn't drop it, it's probably 7 points. So I thought it was a very aggressive game plan, and he's, it seems like he's done a pretty good job with giving Fromm plays he's comfortable with, and, just doing what he can to put points on the board for us.
I totally agree. I think we're going to see a lot more shotgun, like from Seth Emerson on Dawg Nation's breakdown. Shotgun was, I think there was actually 20 to 30 different formations: shotgun, under center, pistol. So I think he's trying a little bit of everything. But I think you're going to see maybe more shotgun because that's where Fromm's used to from high school. But looking at Jim Chaney, I mean, you and I are a big hater. I was real mad at him too. But looking at the overall picture, he has been given the circumstances of two true freshmen, last year and this year. So, I mean, you got to look at that. But I think this weekend we'll transition to that against Samford. You're going to give Jake Fromm more snaps, more game time, get his feet wet. So I think the schedule is kind of breaking down, good for Georgia. Transitioning to that, it's a 2-0 Samford team. Ironically, it is the Bulldogs, and actually Mississippi State is going to be the Bulldogs. So the Bulldogs are going to win the next 2 weeks. Can we agree with that? But anyway, give me your thoughts. What you like to see? Talking about the Samford game, they are 2-0, small FBS team.
Honestly, I think that I guess the one thing you mentioned too, I guess, is that Sonny tweaked his knee or his ankle at the end of the.
They're saying he might not play. Yeah, he might not even play this week. They might sit him out. Don't really need him.
So I think it's one where you're probably looking for, a lot of these, you probably play the starters for maybe the first quarter, something like that. After that, let the backups come in there and get some time, just work on reps and things like that. I think the one thing we're kind of looking for is, not to really have injuries to guys that you need in a game that you really don't even think you need most of your starters to win, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
That's kind of it in a nutshell. I mean, at Samford, I'm not trying to be arrogant or disrespectful to that program, but it kind of is what it is, too. They're not necessarily, or on paper, not on the same level as Georgia, and I don't think they're particularly, good even within their own conference. Or
I think they're in Southern Conference, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a story for all the listeners. This is a little-known story, just kind of saying how it's a small world. So, Samford, I didn't realize till this week, is coached by Chris Hatcher. And in a former life, young Trey here walked on at Valdosta State, and who was the head coach at Valdosta State at the time was Chris Hatcher, known for the Hatch Attack, which is air raid. So you're going to see a lot of balls this weekend flying around, hopefully a lot of picks. And Chris Hatcher gave Kirby Smart his first coaching defensive back coaching position was at Valdosta State. So this is kind of like everything's coming back around. Kirby Smart is going against his, once employer, I guess, coach. So I got a reason he won't put the whooping on him too much smackdown. I'm thinking, 42-10, call the Dogs off. Hopefully, we hadn't had one of those in a couple of years, so that's what I'm looking for. This would be a really good challenge for the secondary because they have been putting up some points, and I believe last year they put up 41, I think what I was hearing, against Mississippi State. I know Mississippi State wasn't great last year, but I mean, it's still an SEC school. So, we don't need one. Even though I do like it, 7:30 game, we don't want that infamous Georgia. I'm glad it went 12 o'clock game. Might take a nap in the first half as usual. I think we get up for them, hopefully take them out, and like you said, get a lot of our guys. We'll see DeAndre Swift, Brian Herrion, probably Elijah Holyfield, and maybe some of these younger wideouts to get some experience.
That's right.
Hopefully see a lot of Bryce Ramsey because it's really out of them. Maybe a lot of handoffs. Just don't let him throw the ball.
Yeah, agreed.
So, yeah, we'll do that. And then next week, I'm transitioning this. We're going to play Mississippi State, who I really want to watch that game, how they do against LSU, jumping into some of the SEC games. What do you think about that one? It's going to be LSU, pretty good defense at Mississippi State. I think it's Mississippi State like -8.5. What do you think about that? Starkville's going to be crazy with the Bells. Nick Fitzgerald's playing well. They're 2-0.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong with that. What is it, Arden Key for LSU? I think is coming back. I think this is going to be his return game, right? I think he's been hurt for most of the beginning of the year.
I think so, yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of that should be something that I would think helps him rather than hurts him.
Yeah.
And then,
but if they put up a bunch of yards and points on LSU, might get a little Trey's stress level might go up a little bit. Might start getting hot sweats next week. But if they bring Nick Fitzgerald back to earth, then I'll feel better because, like Sean was saying in text the other day, he's like, "Man, I'll take Georgia's D over LSU," and I was like, I like it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess the other thing for LSU is how good their offense is. I mean, they brought in Matt Canada, who did a very good job at Pittsburgh. It seems like their quarterback situation, at least the first couple of weeks, is a little more stable than it's been in years past. They're obviously still able to run the ball, but they haven't put up a whole lot of points. So we'll see. That spread is interesting.
At Starkville with the Cowbells, it's kind of a little tough there sometimes.
Yeah, no, that's true. So yeah, that'll be one that's interesting to watch.
So who you got in that one? You got to make a pick.
I mean, honestly, if I got to make a pick, I don't know. I think I'm going to go LSU, honestly.
Maybe in a close one, kind of close?
Yeah, I mean, just until, Mississippi State proves otherwise. I get that they got the good quarterback, but, LSU's got a lot of talent as well. I think that they're
they got good defense, what I've been saying. Good D, as usual.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And they got that good running back, Geist, I guess his name is.
Yeah, he actually led the SEC the last 2 years, even though Fournette was on the team. And rushing is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is nuts.
Another one I'll look at, a big one from SEC standpoint. Going to get your thoughts on that. So it's got Tennessee 2-0 going against Florida off the hurricane bye week, I guess, because they had to cancel it. Looks like the spread's moved a little bit early in the week. It was 5.5 now. ESPN, it's got Florida -4.5. Going to get your thoughts on that. Florida's got got all kind of problems at quarterback.
They do.
It's still in question if they're going to get Callaway and some of the guys. The rumor is they might sit out again. So there's a little speculation about some of these suspensions rolling over. Anyway.
Yeah, I thought I was thinking that maybe it was going to be a 4-game suspension or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Florida's clearly got some problems. Tennessee, to me, really hasn't been much to write home about either.
I agree.
They kind of got lucky with that win last year against Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, other than that, I mean, Florida's really had their number, whether it's been, having more talent than the Gators or not. It's in Gainesville. So I kind of see Florida in a tight one, maybe 3 to 7 points.
Yeah, and Florida has beaten them 12 out of 13 years, so yeah, they dominated. So that should be a good one. I believe that's 3:30. It's going to be, instead of Gary Danielson and Vern, as we used to say, it's Gary Danielson and Brad Nessler.
Oh, wow.
Because Vern hung it up last year. Another one I'll look at, under the radar, I think they're improving. Kentucky against the Shamecocks. In Columbia, South Carolina -6.5. I think this Bentley kid's going to be good. I know he's coming, man. It could be interesting when we play him in November, but I'm going to get your thoughts on that. Kentucky's 2-0, been recruiting pretty well with Stoops.
I think this is really the first test for South Carolina all year. I mean, they beat NC State.
Beat Missouri beat Missouri at Mizzou. That was a good win on the road.
Yeah. I think, to me, like you said, Kentucky, they're 2-0. They were they were tough last year, so I don't know. I could see it going either way. To me, though, if you see Bentley really light them up again, then yeah, I mean, to me, watch out for South Carolina. They might kind of be a dark horse contender to win the East, or not even a dark horse contender at that point. I think they're probably a legit contender because you're 3-0 and you've won 2 SEC games, and that's at Kentucky or is that Williams-Brice?
Hey, Williams-Brice going to be a night game sandstorm, going crazy.
Yeah, and I mean that, for as dumpy as Williams-Brice Stadium is, I will say that is a rocking crowd at night.
I agree. They travel well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll say, I guess I'll say the Chickens by maybe a touchdown.
Yeah, there you go. I agree with that. Plus, you got that, is it Debo Samuel? Kid's good, man. He's been doing special teams, running all around. You guys start keying on him on special teams. I think the surprise is out. You got to maybe kick it away, kick it out of bounds. He's the real deal.
Yeah, for sure.
Want to look at the big one of the week. Probably the best is number 3, Clemson at number 14. Louisville right now it's Clemson -3 is the spread. Lamar Jackson just balled out last week. I think they almost put up 700 yards. I know against UNC, not a great defense, but still, kid's fun to watch.
And that's at Louisville?
At Louisville. And Clemson's got some tough ones. They got you got Sandman coming up at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. That's going to be in a couple of weeks. I mean, these are tough on-the-road games, environment. But what's your thoughts on that? Clemson's D coming off, I think they sacked Jared Stidham, who I think is overrated as usual for Auburn. I think 11 times that kid slept good on Saturday night, but beat Auburn 14-6. Get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Clemson's defense, just they've been dominant. I mean, a lot of people have said even though they had some, loss of leadership with that Boulware kid at linebacker and a couple of the other guys, that this on paper had the potential to be a better defense than the one last year. So, yeah, that's going to be tough. That said, they're going to have their hands full as well with the Heisman Trophy winner on the road. I mean, if anybody can give them it's going to create headaches for Clemson's defense. It's going to be Lamar Jackson. And he did last year as well, I think, on the road. So,
yeah.
in that one, it's still -3 with Clemson on the road. I can see that. I'll tell you, I'm not necessarily sold quite yet on Clemson's quarterback. I think Kelly's his name.
Right.
He obviously didn't lose in the game, but he certainly didn't do a whole lot to win it for him either. And Auburn gave you ample opportunities to make some plays, and that's not necessarily any disrespect either, because Clemson's got a pretty good, or Auburn's got a pretty good defense, as well. But it's you didn't really see a whole lot stat-wise from him. So, and again, that was against a good Auburn defense, maybe looking to see if he rebounds a little bit and can kind of get their offense rolling a little bit better this week. Run game hasn't been particularly good for Clemson either, and I think that's been that was one area they thought would probably be a little better than it has been. But time will tell. I think my head says that Clemson probably still wins this by maybe 3-7, although, I could certainly maybe see an upset as well with Lamar Jackson. If Clemson's offense really can't get much going, that kind of means Lamar Jackson's got to do just enough to keep you in the game. I think that if Clemson's offense struggles to where they score less than 20 points, I kind of like Louisville at that point, because I think Lamar Jackson can certainly get you 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns and 3 field goals. You know what I mean?
Last year it came down. I think it was like a couple of plays away. I mean, Lamar Jackson was driving. And I think he got stopped, and they were going for the go-ahead touchdown. I mean, that was at at Death Valley, Clemson at night, rocking crowd, and they almost pulled it off. Yeah, I'm still questioning that Kelly kid. He's only got like 417 yards throwing so far, or passing, touchdown and pick. Running game's not really great, so it might come down who's got the better defense.
Right.
So yeah, I agree. That's going to be a tough one. Yeah.
Right, and that said, Louisville's defense I don't think is necessarily much to write home about either. So it should be an easier chance for Clemson to score some points. But, again, that said, if the offense kind of struggles, you want to be able to put up some points against Lamar Jackson because, you might be able to contain him a little bit. I don't know that you can stop him, though.
Yeah, I agree. Louisville gave up actually 35 to, an 0-2 now, UNC at home, so they gave up some yards in that game. Yeah, and then last game I want to talk about, just historical. I think this is probably one of Sean's favorites. Some people say maybe one of the greatest national titles of all time. I think they haven't played since. Is you're having the Longhorns, Texas, non-ranked, heading into number 4 USC in the Coliseum. USC minus 15.5. Tom Herman, he came back last week. I think they blasted some team, I forget, 56-0, a small team, but got embarrassed in that first week, and they got beat by who was it? North?
That was Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland kind of dominated them, so that was really bad for open up coming home party for Tom Herman. But I can get your thoughts on that, maybe historic, and maybe reflect a little bit on. I think you said that was one of your favorites. Vince Young and that comeback against that great USC team. I think 2006, right?
Or 2005.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, the same year that Georgia got beat by West Virginia in the Sugar Bowl. So,
right.
But honestly, I think USC probably rolls in this one. That quarterback they've got is pretty dang good. They got a very good passing game, and the defense plays pretty well as well.
Yeah.
They just came off of a big win at Stanford. Texas is kind of all over the place. It looks like they're not going to have any problems putting up points. I think the issue there is defense. And so if you got two offenses that can both score pretty at will, to me, I think that you're really looking at which defense is probably going to make more stops. I think that's USC.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think it's just one of those, everybody remember how close that game was, but I don't think it's close. I'll take USC in that one.
Yeah, I mean, most of these kids weren't, that are going to be playing in this game, geez Louise, they probably weren't even, some more in like kindergarten, right?
Probably got to go find that one on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that probably the best national title game? I think it was back and forth, and you had Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush was a beast, and kind of Vince Carter. Then they came back really good. Is that what it was? I kind of remember it, but not really too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly up there. Maybe the back-to-back Clemson-Alabama ones were pretty good as well. The Florida State one with Auburn was pretty good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you certainly had some good ones over there, but, that's as good as any that I can remember.
Yeah, I think Texas was such a big underdog.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we're going to go to, we went over the picks, but we're going to go actually 2-0. So we're going to go for 3-0. Trey's Dawg of the Week, D-A-G-G. So I'm going to take, even though I'm probably going to watch this one, I'm definitely going to watch it probably. Hey, I'm going to take Tennessee in the points, -4, or actually +4.5 against Florida. I think they get it 2 straight weeks. I just think Florida's got, last week would have helped them if they would have played against North Colorado. Probably would have given them some more reps on the quarterback, even if it's Felipe Franks or Zaire. I just think, coming off that, I know it was maybe they healed up after that first game, but Michigan ran all over them. They only had basically 3 points of offense, not including the 2 pick sixes. Michigan ran all over them, so I like Tennessee, maybe beating them by 3, maybe a late field goal, but definitely I'll take Tennessee +4.5 in the points for Trey's Dawg of the Week.
So, are you saying Tennessee wins the game as well?
I think they'll win. I think they'll win by a late field goal by 3. I mean, and then I wanted to bring that up. I hope they win. Even if they lose, just hopefully they cover. But from Georgia's standpoint, who do you think this helps Georgia better in the East? We need to pull for Tennessee, or we need to pull for Florida in the long run. What do you think?
To me, I think Florida maybe creates more problems for us. So I think Tennessee, honestly.
So you pull for them? Yeah, I agree. But if Tennessee wins, that makes them 3-0, and I think definitely Florida because even all this hurricane stuff, I think they only have like 3 SEC away games, which is kind of on their side. But they already got a loss, so yeah, I'm just anxious to see how that offense looks after that bad display against Michigan.
No, that's true. Well, and that loss was non-conference as well against a top 10 ranked team with and you had a lot of suspensions. So yeah, I think you pulled for Tennessee on this one. I see Tennessee, losing some more games. At a minimum, they got to play Alabama, which is going to be a loss.
Mm-hmm.
They got to play us. I think we beat them, so that's 2 losses. So you need Florida to at least get a loss from somebody somewhere else within the conference.
Yeah, I totally agree. That'll be in a couple of weeks. We'll have a true freshman going to Rocky Top. It's always a tough place to play. Hopefully.
Well, we may. I mean, if Eason isn't back yet, and I guess we can talk about that as well. What does the win for Fromm mean in terms of Eason's position when he comes back from injury?
Yeah, I agree. So Jeff Sintel, I was watching some of his. He's usually he handles recruiting on Dawg Nation, but he kind of gave his opinion. He goes from one of his insiders. He's like, I'm not a doctor, I don't know anything, but he goes, if I had to bet and make go into my head a prediction, I'm thinking 3 weeks. So that would be strike this week off. He hadn't shown up to practice at all, still on crutches. So that's 1 week. 2 weeks you'll have, or a week, I guess if you call that Mississippi State. And then right after that, I believe, is it Vandy and then Tennessee? I'd have to go back and look. So, and then let's say if you're 4 or 5-0, Sean, and he's playing like he keeps improving, I mean, do you bring him back in, or do you what do you think your opinion is? A lot of people are debating on that. Let's say if he's playing pretty good and you're still winning, I mean, do you take him off his high horse and get it back to Easton, or what do you think?
I mean, to me, I think the smartest answer is you play the guy that you think gives you the best opportunity to win. And that might, that would, to me, that's probably Fromm off the bat. The reason why that's probably Fromm is he's just going to have a lot more reps. I mean, Easton's on crutches. He really can't throw the ball.
Yeah.
And so, obviously it'll have been, almost 2 months since he's, had any reps with his center or with any of the receivers. So that's going to be tough. But, to me, I think regardless of, even if we're like 4-2, right? I mean, I think that the way it's approached is whoever's playing the best in practice and you think gives you the best chance to win is who you play with. And even if it's Easton, I don't think that means that Fromm's playing time is wiped out either. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Fromm continues to get snaps, or some series of snaps, every game from here on out.
Yeah, I think it's only a win-win situation. You're adding depth because, as we know right now, you could roll an ankle, or we're one play away from having Bryce Ramsey in there, which is scary.
Yeah.
So, got Samford, I'm looking at it here. Mississippi State, which is going to be a probably tough game. We talked about that earlier. We got them at home, which is great. Then you got to go to Rocky Top, tough place anyway. I could see them making that a night game if they're winning, or that's probably going to be 3:30. You're going to have a true freshman on the road, over 100,000 orange yelling at you. That's going to be tough. And then you're going to go at Vanderbilt. And then Vanderbilt, actually, I think their quarterback actually leads in passing. I know they haven't played anybody. But that they, as we call them, Kevin Hart's got them rolling down there, man. So that could be tough too. And then you'll have Missouri. So I'm thinking of Vanderbilt, maybe Missouri game. You get him back then, but we'll have to see how he's doing. But if Fromm's like lights out, and then he's rolling every game, say go with Fromm, and then you just add depth. But
that's right.
Yeah.
And so. Yeah, and again, just having not played that much time, the lack of repetitions is going to be kind of a steep hurdle. Fromm should continue to have chemistry and hopefully continue to improve over that time as well. So, yeah, I mean, I think that it's going to be I think you're probably going to end up seeing both of them in some capacity unless, Fromm completely, craps the bed or, knock on wood, gets hurt.
Exactly. I agree. All right, well, I think we're at the clock. We're at the clock here. Another great episode. Good Georgia talk and SEC talk. Sorry we didn't have Justin or Matt on. Everybody was busy. Hopefully get a special guest back next week. But That's another episode of Herschel Talkers. Go Dogs, and we'll see you next week.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. And we're out.